Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Somos Mas, the official podcast of Somos Mas NM and your source for the latest news and notes on New Mexico United and the New Mexico Runners. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff. Joining me this evening, the one, the only Jacob Terrell, and the Do You Believe in Joe Hendry, Earl Nieto. Guys, how are you doing? I know it's been a stressful week. I know there's been a lot of things that have gone on outside of the show. I know you guys have both been busy. And certainly the results on Saturday night didn't help. And Jacob, I know you're not a fan of the wrestling talk, but just quickly, because this was something that took over our group text here for the past 24 hours. Earl, do you believe in the Wyatt Six?
You frozen.
Damn. Earl is frozen.
He's not frozen. Earl, he asked you a question. Unmute yourself and answer.
Oh. Well.
See, this karma for bringing up wrestling a minute and a half in. What you guys
Maybe
get?
it is. I don't know, but I was hoping to give Earl something positive to talk about this evening, because there's going to be a lot of bad that we talk about here, or at least, at least two big moments of bad that we're going to talk about. But Jacob, how are you doing? How was the weekend? I know you said you were busy. Are you prepared for the upcoming holiday season? I know we've got, the 4th of July coming up, and you guys are always busy over that time of the year. So
Yeah, no, not at all. No, the weekend was good. We had Old Fort days down here in Fort Sumner. So from Wednesday to Saturday night, there were things going on. We had a trip to Roswell in there. We had Father's Day on Friday. Happy Father's Day. Happy belated Father's Day, by the way, to everybody listening that's a father. And then work's been kind of hectic just in general. Had to make a trip to Roswell for that. And then I have, it's better now, but over the weekend it was looking like I was going to have 0 staff for 4th of July. I've tweaked some things and it looks like I'll be all right. But yeah, it's been busy but fun.
Quickly, we're getting some sort of odd audio feedback on your mic. I'm not sure what it is. But hopefully we can figure that out throughout the show. Josh Gonzalez over in the chat already, coming to you fresh out of Revel for the meet and greet event. Josh, I got to ask, how was the meet and greet? Clearly none of the three of us were there. We're all in separate locations, so none of us were there for that. Moogdef, we need UCL refs in USL. Well, I don't know about that, but to be fair, Arsenal gets away with a lot of things, as does Liverpool, as well as some others. But Earl is back. Earl, I don't know if you heard my question a minute ago. Number one, do you believe in Joe Hendry? And number two, what do you make of the Wyatt Six?
So first off, my internet sucks. We all know that. As soon as we went live, all I heard was like robot, and you guys were both frozen staring at me, so it was a little weird. So don't do that again.
We could see you moving the whole time.
Yeah,
you just weren't answering our question.
Well, I heard nothing except for like, and then when I heard like blank, I was like, I think that was a question for me, but I don't know, so I'm not going to talk.
What happens when you move to the middle of nowhere, Earl?
Yeah, you would know.
Hey, I've got good internet here. Where are you at?
Actually, you have internet because the state pays for your fucking internet.
Oh, no, I don't.
No? Okay.
I pay for my internet. Thank you very much.
Well, I was wrong there. Anyways, what do I think of Joe Hendry? I don't know, because I haven't watched NXT yet. I'll watch that probably tomorrow. And what do I think of the Wyatt Six? One of the best returns in WWE history, for sure.
That was very cool.
I thought the last Bray Wyatt return, where he has the whole world in his hands, was phenomenal. And then I was thinking yesterday, how the shit can they top that? Well, surprise, surprise, they fucking did it.
That was quite some cinema there at the end of Monday Night Raw last night. And to follow it up too, Earl, can this be a legitimate stable? Like, is this something that they can really build off of?
I think so, based off of Bray Wyatt is what it is. They want to do Bray Wyatt right, and he was almost in talks to return. Like, he was right there, ready to happen. Jacob's falling asleep like we were last week to his Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And he's thinks we can read lips too, by the way.
It's playing right now. I'm surprised you can't hear it.
Yeah, we can't hear it because you're on mute. Anyways, when the lights went down and I saw it, I was like, okay, cool, this is actually happening. And then when it happened, I swear to God, I had real life goosebumps for a while. And me and my buddy, who we're going to be doing podcasts with for our other show, he texted me right away. And I was up to about 11 o'clock talking about it. So just so everyone knows, there might be a show that comes out tomorrow on the other channel. I know I've been talking about it forever. And with all the time in the world that I have at home, I just might actually record something tomorrow and put it out. So we'll see. But I'm excited for the Wyatt 6 to see what happens, and I hope they don't crush it and let them spoil it. I hope that they actually do something good and build off of something that can be incredible.
So moving on from that, if you're not familiar, Earl, go ahead and link your podcast over in the chat. That way folks can go and follow you over there.
I can
try. You can try that. Josh, fantastic event. Great meeting all the United players as always. I think the fans may have overwhelmed the Juarez players a bit though. Also, who runs the Facebook Messenger and leaves me on red?
That'd be me too. That'd be me too.
I saw the notification.
I typically reply, but sometimes I don't see the Facebook messages because somebody else goes in and reads them and then doesn't do anything, and then I don't check it. So I'll take some blame, but
I'll take the other half. I was going to reply, and then my phone died.
So likely story.
You're at home, Earl. Plug it in.
If you look right now, it's too bright, but my phone is just about dead, sitting right here.
Yeah.
Do you have electricity, Earl?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the problem then?
I don't have an outlet right next to me.
That's what these little thingies are for. Look. Extension cord? See it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You're lucky I charged this damn thing.
I mean, are we really lucky?
I mean,
fair question.
I love you, Earl.
not wrong.
I'm glad to see that you had that shirt that I was supposed to get for you and didn't. I'm glad to see that you got one.
Yeah, thanks. I had to go buy it twice. I'm scared to buy it one time and then figure out what the hell happened to it.
Did you lose it?
It's one of those middle of nowhere stories. So I bought this shirt after Jacob said I didn't get it, whatever. Which is cool. I appreciate it, the effort, by the way. So I turned around and I bought it. Well, they sent it UPS. UPS, I guess, doesn't deliver out here. So they changed my address to Moriarty, which, for those of you who don't know, I moved away from Moriarty to
Did they
2 hours
change it to
north.
Moriarty, or did you leave it as Moriarty and it just got sent there originally?
No, they changed it to Moriarty.
Okay.
And I don't know who they delivered it to, so I called UPS and they figured out who they delivered it to. The UPS driver went out there, picked up the package, and then brought it out here and got it figured out.
Don't just wait, Josh. Earl's going to have a moment here pretty soon. Apart from Earl's t-shirt disasters, getting a new shirt.
Wait. Hold on. Like 5 seconds, please. I want to hit the 10-second or 10-minute mark before we start talking soccer. Okay, go.
Okay. Apart from all of that, the weekend did not go well for New Mexico United. Obviously, heading back east of the Mississippi once again. And for whatever reason, that Mississippi River just seems to not do well for us. And we went to Memphis, had a couple mental mistakes, end up losing by a final of 2-1. And yeah, we have a few things to talk about. So I'm going to pull up my screen here. We're going to share this because we have to. We have to share it in order to talk about it. And, you know, we came off the win against Hartford. We all felt confident going into this match against Memphis that we had a good shot at winning. Now, I'm going to stop us right here. I'm going to pause this right here. This is one of the most youth league things I have ever seen in any match. And I referee you in everything from U15 up to ASL. And I've only seen this a handful of times. I've seen back passes where a keeper picks it up. I've seen other things similar to this. I don't think I have ever seen this in a professional match. Now, first off, I mean, we're going to back it up right here. And I don't think the
highlight package. Yeah, it doesn't go back far enough.
So the clip doesn't go back far enough. So right here, you can see that Alex takes possession of the ball just outside of the 18-yard box without the ball ever going out of play. Now, I know some people have questioned, why didn't he just let it go out of play? That's a very good question. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with Alex stopping it and playing it. But you see here, while Alex is taking possession of the ball, Talon is looking away, looking completely opposite direction. Now, we've seen in matches past where Talon has been the player to restart from a goal kick.
And I want to say, at this very moment that it's paused, Talon is looking away. Mm-hmm. If you go back and watch the whole series of events here, it's a fairly long ball that comes in. Mm-hmm. It's clearly going to go out. Talon turns around. When Talon turns around, Tambakis is still in the 6-yard box. And then all of a sudden he sprints over to stop it. And so when Talon turns around, there's nobody within 15 yards of this ball.
Mm-hmm. But again, there's no whistle. The AR does not raise his flag. I don't see any indication here that would have given Talon the impression that this ball had gone out of play. And this was a major mental mistake by Talon here early on. And so here, Alex is taking possession, brought the ball back in. Talon has restarted play multiple times this season from a goal kick. But what I also don't see here from Alex, as he plays this ball to him, there's no communication. There's no communication. You don't see Alex communicating at any point in this clip. You don't see anything between him and Talon. So, and as Bugdev says, this is on both of them. The mistake is on both of them.
It's on Alex.
I think it's on both. And Earl, since you are a resident goalkeeper expert, let's get your take on this play right here. This 10 seconds that put United behind the 8 ball in a really early moment.
So my take is every season we have one goalkeeper backline blunder. We saw it last year where Kalen passed the ball back to Alex and Alex completely whiffed on it. So it was about this time last year that this kind of mistake happened. So I'll take it. I will accept the fact that mistakes happen and shit happens. Because if I go on some tirade about Alex not communicating and blah, 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 you guys already have this question loaded and you guys probably have some kind of bullshit response. So I'm not even going to try. Because I'm typically wrong, and there's air quotes because I'm usually not wrong, except when I am wrong. And the only time I'm ever wrong is with the lady that lives behind that door over there, and that's Marlena.
Well, so in this instance, Earl, I don't think any of us would say that Alex handled this correctly here. So if you want to go, by all means, take your moment, get on your soapbox.
No, I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah, I'm
I
good.
will.
I'm good.
I will.
Go for it.
I will. I got you, Earl. I got you, fam. You can say it's on both. Fine. It's like 5% Talon, 95% Alex. Talon turns around. When he turns around, it's fairly clear that ball should probably roll out with as far away as Alex is. And it's not like Talon turned around to jack off. He turns around and is giving direction to his teammates like a good leader at the back line should do. He's clearly giving direction. You can see it in the clip. Alex, for some reason, decides to sprint the last, 10 yards to keep the ball in play, and then does not communicate to his center back, who has clearly been turned around for way longer than Alex thinks he is. And I love Alex. I'm not an Alex hater. I watched this play probably a dozen times, just like the 10-second clip that's right before this, and then this moment, obviously. And I cannot really fault Maples at all. I don't understand where any Maples hate really comes from. He's doing his job. He sees the ball. It looks like it's going out of play. He turns around, starts saying, hey, let's tweak this, let's tweak that. And Alex, I don't mind that he went and did it. It looked kind of funny because he was just kind of jogging, and then he was like, oh, at the last minute, I'm going to actually keep this ball in play. So maybe Talon should have asked and been like, hey, what's going on? But that's 95% Alex, and I won't hear otherwise.
I mean, I think you can certainly make the argument that's 95% Alex, and to that extent too, is Talon giving direction? Probably. Is he doing some sort of communication? Probably. But at the same time, how many times this year have we seen us play the ball short off of a goal kick? And there's probably some sort of communication there saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. And it's coming from both sides. Like, both of them should have communicated here. And this is on both of them. And even as Alex is bringing the ball back into play, he was going back to the spot. He's going back to the 6-yard box. Like, if the ball's left, why not play it sooner? But at the same time, again, the communication is on both of them.
But what is Maple supposed to do there? How is Maple supposed to communicate that? Is he supposed to ask a question? Because that's really the only option he has, is to turn around and start walking back. He's, like you said, he sees Alex dribbling back to the 6-yard box in front of goal. I don't understand what else he's supposed to think and why it's on him whatsoever to be like, hey, did you keep it in play? Or what are we doing? That's all Alex. The communication is all Alex.
I think for Talon, it's more lack of awareness. No whistle, no flag, no signal, nothing. Him not being aware of the situation.
I can understand the no whistle part or no flag, but if you watch the clip, he's clearly just not distracted, but clearly doing something else. He is not just not paying attention. He is clearly communicating with the players in front of him on what to do, where to go, something or other. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know. I will not stand for Talon getting more than 10% of blame. 10% of the blame.
Yeah. I mean, either way, there's a massive breakdown here. And you can't do that against any club. You can't do that against anybody. And you see the frustration there from both of them. Alex clearly in that clip there thinks that Maples should have known what was going on. Talon's going, okay, well, you didn't say anything. So something in that moment caused neither of them to have any sort of communication. and you give your opponent an opportunity to go up in the 13th minute on a silly, stupid mental error. And I really think this set the tone, particularly for the first half, for Memphis. Now, I don't think we weren't aggressive. I don't think we weren't attacking enough. I certainly don't think that's the situation at all. But when you go down by a goal inside of 15 minutes, and then you go down by a second goal, like it puts you in a position where you've got to overextend. You've got to make, silly mistakes. You see the error, you see the foul. I don't know if it's in the highlight package, but the foul that Husu makes later on, a silly foul. I think it's completely unnecessary. I think Sergio's foul later on is completely unnecessary as well. But I mean, it's just, you can't make those types of mistakes against anybody.
Sergio's foul late was more of a frustration, is what it was. I mean, you're down 2-0, and I believe he picked up his foul in like the 80th minute, right before Hursty scores. Maybe it was like 82nd minute because Kalen was already on. So, I mean, Sergio's foul was more of a frustration tactic versus a bonehead play tactic. It was I have to stop the ball. I'm not being any productive doing so. So here's this. Take this one. More of a tactical frustration foul. But this one here, I mean, you talk about the bonehead move from Maples. And I know I called it a Maples blunder, but it's really not. When I watched it back and I watched it over again, it's not on Maples. That's all Alex. And we could stick on this soapbox for a while, but
I wouldn't put this one on Maples either. I would put this one on.
I'd 100%. No, I'd put 100% of this on Maples. Actually, no, I take this back. This one is 50 Maples, 50 Hosu.
How come?
I'll show you.
Okay.
On the second ball here, look how far Maples is away from that Memphis player. He has no business running that far up to try to win that ball when he has no chance in hell. Him coming up means Herbert has to then shift over a little bit and try to cover for him, puts him in no man's land. And then Hosu also, if you go back and play it again, Hosu jogs like, I don't know, 50 yards. And then at the last minute is like, oh shit, that guy that's right in front of me is like through on goal. I need to hustle instead of hustling beforehand. So I don't put that one on Herbert at all. Herbert gets put in a terrible position because of two teammates' bad decisions.
Okay, I can see it. I can absolutely see it. But, I don't necessarily know you can put it on Alex.
I was talking about the initial where I opted out to have my opinion. I came back to that and decided I wanted my opinion.
Okay.
But that one right there, that's not on Alex. I mean, I know I'm probably the biggest Alex critic here. But if you get caught where your teammates weren't, where they should have been, I will never put the blame on you. I mean, the ball bounced off his leg, which means he was in position for it. He reacted quickly to it. It was a well-placed ball. That's all it was. At the end of the day, we can talk about this match all night long. I'd much rather not. I'd much rather pull my teeth out.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I'm sure that might be entertaining. However, any blood loss might, cause some issues with YouTube and Facebook.
This is very true.
We'll blur it out. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do what WWE does and make it black and white.
I don't know. That wasn't black and white last night.
There's a lot of not black and white. That's for sure.
That
was very gruesome. But let's talk. How about we talk about positive? Let's talk about Kalen coming in, his return, and taking a 9 roll.
We can certainly talk about that. And obviously, Kalen Ryden, Sergio Rivas, both making returns to the actual pitch on Saturday night. And you see Kalen come in, subs in for Daniel Bruce in the 50 I have to double check and see which minute he came
80th
in.
minute.
80th minute. But
80th.
you got Kalen Hurst playing up top. Now, this is something we've
Kalen.
seen in moments in the past,
But
but we've never seen him feature for an extended period of time up top.
Time out. Who's Kalen Hurst?
Oh, Kalen Ryden. I do apologize. Kalen Ryden. Now, to be fair, we have seen Hurst feature up top for momentary times in the past as well. But no, I mean, this is, we've seen Kalen in the past play up top in moments to give us a bit of height, a bit of size up there. We haven't seen him feature for an extended period of time. So I know some people are questioning it. Now, if for those of you that don't know, Kalen did play as a forward in high school and was quite good at it. Actually won, I believe, a state championship and a couple awards in the state of Oklahoma while he was in high school. So it's not uncommon. However, there's a reason why he's not up there full time, as evidenced by his moonshot from 3.5 feet away. But I think it was an interesting look. It gave us something different to put up top. It created a different set of challenges for Memphis. And I think it was necessary because when you have strong center backs like we already do, you have to figure out a way to get guys like Kalen involved. Now, looking at Kalen's performance, Earl, you brought him up. How would you rate Kalen's performance as a 9? And do you think this is something we see more in the future?
I think so. I think we see more out of position players as an experiment tactic. Obviously, if we make a deep run in the Open Cup, we need those kind of players, and we need those kind of those kind of trick plays that we can pull out of a hat that'll make it work. I would rate Kalen's performance really good, even though he had the moonshot from under the goal.
Hold on, Earl. Hold on.
It's fine.
No, I will not stand for this. I will not stand for this. You cannot shit on every striker we've ever had that has put one over the bar, and then say that it is really good as a 9, even though he did the same thing that Romario Williams and countless others did that you gave him shit for.
Hold on a second. That is not Kalen's position. You can ask my 6-year-old kid in bed right now who my favorite player is. And
that was his position in this moment. And that's his position right now, and that's what you're supposed to be grading him on.
Okay, well, here's the thing. It was his first game back after what fucking week are we in?
Week 16 now.
Week 16. After 15 weeks, he comes back and he plays a striker position.
Good math there. Good math, Earl.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at that.
I'm just giving you shit. I thought he should get an assist on the Hurst goal. He won't because of technicalities, but he wins the header that gets Hurst the goal and springs Hurst free. So it is.
So that's my thing. I think he played really well given the situation. Do I expect him to see him as a 9 again? Probably not. I think it was shit. We got to plug him in somewhere. Brucey, let's take you out and put Kalen in for you. And I bet you Bruce is probably shaking his head too. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that guy? Regardless of who went in there, I really think seeing Kalen come back from an injury is good for our team. Obviously, he's the captain of our team. I believe he takes the armband back next week. And I was excited when I heard that he came back, obviously with a bunch of family responsibilities, family obligations. I could not watch the match until literally 6 o'clock when I turned on the TV. 6:15, I think it was. I finally turned on the TV to watch the match. So watching Kalen come back was really good. I would probably rate him probably a 6 or a 7, given the situation. And this is not me shitting on him for the moonshot goal, but that's not his position. So given the situation, I think he did really fucking well.
Jacob, let's talk about Greg Hurst. Obviously,
Yes,
Hurst, leading the team in goals, 6 goals on the season for him in league play. Let's talk about his play on Saturday night. Obviously, he was sub again in the second half, 54th minute. Coming in, you see the vision on the goal. You see him, playing well for most of his time on the pitch on Saturday night. The focus he had to take this first shot and then the follow up on the second. Not something that we've necessarily seen from our strikers in the past, from our 9s, 10s, whoever. But he continued to crash that box after he made that first shot. What was it in this moment that you liked out of him and in the play, after it?
No, I mean, one, I don't think that was his best moment from this match. The double chip that he has that gets cleared up the line earlier in the second half was even more impressive to me. It's a great header by Ryden to Springham. I think part of the brilliance of his goal is outside of the right boot the first time. I think that kind of catches Derek off guard a little bit, and that's why he can't get a clean save and parry it away safely or grab it, which leads to the rebound opportunity. And then I don't know what Memphis's defenders were doing necessarily, but they don't give him, or they give him all the space in the world to collect that rebound, and Derek's already gone to ground, so a pretty easy finish there. But he came on and completely changed the match in the second half. I think he's probably been the MVP of the first 14 games. If I would have to choose one, obviously 6 goals kind of speaks for itself, but just the way he's carried himself, the selflessness that he's played with, where coming off the bench this game and providing a spark, coming when he's played with Bruce a couple of times and he's kind of dropped back into that false 9, even like a mock 10 role. He's done whatever's asked of him. He keeps finishing at a pretty successful rate. I don't know who could be upset with what Hurst has provided this year. It's a huge step up from last year and even his year in Phoenix, I would say. And we really desperately needed him to do that, especially with Dunladi, who was, the number 1 pick and kind of big name signing that we bring in to play a 9, having not played at all in league play. I believe maybe he made a cameo, but I'm almost positive he hasn't made a league play debut yet. And so Hurst needed to be that guy, and he's taken that and just ran with it and been just so instrumental to the success that we've had this season. If he could finish a freaking PK, then we'd even be sitting prettier right now. And so he was my man of the match, spoiler alert. Even coming on in the second half, just looked fantastic. And real quick on the Ryden thing, like I know we talked about him coming on as a striker. I don't think he plays there again either. We desperately need Maples and Herbert to get some rotation, and so having him back, gets some time on the field. Hopefully he can start a match pretty soon and give one of those guys a bit of a breather, because they've just been like, I don't want to say, like, I know that I just blamed Alex for 95% of the handball thing, but a lot of that on those 3 guys in the back, Herbert, Maples, and Tambakis, is just exhaustion. Like, you cannot, that position is too important, especially in our system where we like to get forward and we put a lot of pressure on that back line to kind of hold things down back there while we're focusing on the offensive side. To go 15 matches with basically those 2 players back there the whole time, other than like a Seymour appearance in like the second or third week. I don't remember which one it was. And so of all the things that happened, Ryden coming back, I think, is the most important, as long as he's fully healthy and can give us 30 to 60 minutes or 60 to 90 minutes soon, like real soon. And so just wanted to shout that out. But no, Hurst was fantastic. I mean, he he's been incredible, and I can't say enough about him.
There was one other moment with Hursty that I did want to ask you about. So there was a moment where he basically picked the pocket of a Memphis player and then went 3/4 of the way down the pitch. You know, it looked like he was going to have the opportunity to split the two defenders that were back there, even a shot from about 16 to 18 yards. But instead, he laid the ball off. What did you think in that moment? Do you think he missed an opportunity there? Do you think he made the right decision?
I probably made the wrong decision. Probably should have had that, killer striker mentality of, I'm going to finish this right here and right now. But at the same time, what makes him great is that he is a type of guy to look out for teammates and get everybody else involved too. And so we could sit here and say you should have shot it, but if he'd have shot it and put it over the moon, then Earl would think he's the worst striker in the world, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I think, like case in point, Flanagan had a shot that ended up going off the post off a deflection. If that doesn't get deflected, I think it's an easy save for Derek. And I think the right play there probably would have been to play something across. Hurst was there. I can't remember who else would. So I think it was Schwartz made a run, or Schwartz, if you're or the announcer for freaking Memphis. Schwartz made the run in front of him. I think Schwartz had enough room that Flanagan could have squared it to him, and then when he didn't square it to him, he definitely could have laid it off to Hurst, kind of just inside the 18. But then again, if that shot does somehow go in, then we're talking about what a great shot it is. And so those kind of moments, unless it's like glaringly obvious, which I don't think either of these necessarily was, I don't fault anybody for either taking the shot or trying to get other players involved, unless it's like, bro, unless you're like on the goal line, you just have to tap it in and you decide to square it and it leads to a disaster. Then that's another story. But no, I'm not. He probably should have shot it, but I'm not gonna get with the pitchforks out and freak out about it.
Earl, man of the match.
It's hard to have a man of the match, especially with a 2-0 loss, or 2-1 loss. Sorry, 2-1 loss. Sorry. You would think that my man of the match would be Hurst because he actually scored the goal. But because Jacob said Hurst, I'm going to change mine. And mine is going to be the guy that came in and played a spot that he shouldn't have. I think my man of the match is Kalen. Kalen is a very instrumental piece to the team. And seeing him come back, it makes my heart happy because like I said, he's very, very instrumental to what this team is trying to do, both offensively and defensively. He's definitely an anchor out of the back line to start the long ball process and the quick counters. And seeing him come in, essentially because Dunlawdy couldn't, and I'm a huge Dunlawdy fan. I'm a Nashville fan, so seeing Dunlawdy here, it's like, cool, I'm all for it, except we haven't seen him, except for maybe 15, 20 minutes, one match. So essentially the question was, who wants to play striker? And Kalen said, me, put this guy in. And Kalen went into a position that he shouldn't have, especially first match back off of a 15-week injury, and did a decent job. He didn't do bad. He didn't do good, but he did decent. Like I said earlier, I don't think we see him there again. I think it was kind of a one-off of, hey, we need Brucey in there, and we already have Hurst playing, so who wants to go in? And Kalen said, put me in. I'm all for it. So I think Kalen gets my man of the match as the team player. But going back a little bit, kind of rewinding to your question to Jacob about Hursty's pass off, soft pass off, really. Hursty's the ultimate team player. If he can try to help someone else out over himself, he's going to do it. I mean, we've heard him in press conferences after matches where he's all about the team and helping the team do what they need to. So if he felt like he had a pass that could have got scored, then he took it. And to correct Jacob, I'm also a huge Hursty fan. So Hursty could have moonshotted it to fucking Pluto. And I still would have been okay with it. Because right now, he has 5 more in half the time than what was the other guy's name that had 1 goal in Schneider Board again. That was his fucking name. God, I never thought I'd say that one again. He has 5 goals more than Schneider had in the time he was here. In less time. So I can't hate on Hursty because he actually can score. And he is a team player that will come off the bench if he has to.
Okay. He said, Earl, hard to give man of the match and a losing effort, but I just want to shout out Sergio Rivas. Sergio, we were told against Hartford he was at least another week or 2 away from returning, but he looked good for the 20 minutes he was out there. He looked good. So shout out to him for, putting in the effort, getting back on the pitch. Pete had told me during the Hartford match or prior to the Hartford match that he still need to get back into training, work on his match fitness. I thought he played well. Nothing crazy to write home about, but it was good to see him back out there. And especially with us, missing Christian Nava, I think Sergio is a piece out of the middle that can help do some things for us creatively. So,
I thought Marco played Marco played well too, just for the record.
Yeah.
He's kind of been a little off the last few weeks, whether he's been out or even the matches that he's played, he hasn't been quite as influential. And I thought today he kind of stepped back up and showed the Marco Micheletto that we grew to love over the first 5 or 6 matches of the season.
And in reality, before you move us on to our next segment, you have to think about it. A big piece of our offense was not even there, being Zico Bailey. So Zico not being there, our offense kind of sputtered a little bit. Dayon not being there, our offense sputtered a little bit. So 2 key pieces to our offense that we've seen week in and week out weren't there because of international duty. So I think once we get them back, I think we're going to be fine. I would not stress about this loss too much because one was a blunder that happened and the other one was just a well-placed shot.
So speaking of that, not being worried about where we're at right now, not being worried about that loss, one topic I've seen tossed around on social media is the midseason slump. Now, I know we've got other things to get to, but we've lost 2 out of the past 3. We are still sitting in first place with a -1 goal differential. The West got a little bit tighter after this weekend's results. Sacramento, obviously, they lost as well, so they're still right behind us. But are we entering that mid-season slump that we've seen in the past? Or, like Earl says, is this an aberration? Is this something that we're going to move past and we're not going to have to worry about here in a week or 2? Now, we do have some congestion coming up in our schedule. Friendly on Wednesday, match on Saturday. Then you've got, the matches coming up in the next couple weeks as we prepare for the Open Cup against LAFC. So again, are we entering that mid-season slumps that we've seen in the past?
No. One, we're not mid-season yet. We're like a third of the way. I guess we're in the middle third. Yes. So I'll give that to you. But no, we've played 2 matches. The 2 losses that you speak of are 2 games that we should probably have won, if not for PKs, if not for penalties. 1, our lack of being able to finish them against Monterey Bay, and 2, a small blunder. Is Earl okay? Earl, are you okay?
I think he's talking to his wife.
I don't know what the hell that was. Um, they
Sorry,
were both.
I'm multitasking, and the Florida Panthers and Edmonton Oilers game. It was 4-3 for a while, and then Florida pulled their goalie, and they just scored a pretty massive goal. It's now 5-3 because of a pretty decent save that happened, but it wasn't enough because obviously he doesn't have enough equipment to take a 95-mile-per-hour shot.
I'm very confused. Okay. Anyways, no, the two matches that we very easily could have won. Some could argue we should have won, or at least got a draw in both of them. They were both on the road. The road form does need to get better. We have won 3 games on the road, so I'm not freaking out about our road form necessarily. But we come back home. We have a pretty home-heavy stretch of the season right here. Obviously, we lost the Sacramento match that was going to be at home during this stretch that got postponed to September because of the Open Cup. But still have some home matches coming up. We do have to travel to San Antonio later in the month, but then we've got another home match. Then we go to LAFC. So I think we're fine. I'm not worried about it. This team has already shown that they are different than teams in the past as far as mentality wise, being able to handle some stuff a little bit better. And so, like, even in this match, that happens in what, like the 10th minute, 11th minute or whatever it was, where we have a dumb mistake and we give up a handball. Obviously, they score again in like the 33rd or whatever it was. But I don't think we ever hung our head really, aside from maybe a few minutes in the first half there. But we kept fighting. We kept fighting. We kept fighting. We had multiple chances in the second half to break to get on the board. And then once we got on the board, we still kept fighting to try to get that point on the road. And so the mentality of this team is definitely different. Quill brings kind of a fiery edge, and I think the roster, like, I cannot stress how much the roster and the depth that we have leads to that kind of mentality, because, like, you can't afford not to give it your all, because if you don't give it your all, then you're going to sit your ass on the bench. And so, because there's multiple players that are just as good as you right behind you in those positions. And so it breeds this level of competition and this mentality of, like, I cannot take a play off, because if I take a play off, then I very well could be sitting the next match. Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think Hosu starts this next match and probably doesn't get minutes. And I have been the biggest Hosu fan. I've preached about him multiple times on this pod. He did not have a good match, and that second goal isn't solely on him, but it's like any time in baseball when you see somebody jog to first base on a ground ball, and it ends up costing their team something, they're going to get benched and sent a message. And you know that Quill's the type that's going to do that. Plus, assuming Zeke goes back coming up against Colorado Springs, then we're going to have plenty of options to replace Hosu. So I'd be shocked if he gets the start against Colorado Springs, unless he comes in this week to practice and just rips it because he feels bad about it. But yeah, this team is mentally is a completely different animal than teams that we've had in the past. And that's no shade to Troy or Zach, or any of the front office at all for previous teams. This team's just different, for a multitude of reasons. And because of that, I fully expect us to bounce back just fine and probably get another 1-goal win against Colorado Springs, because that's just what we do.
Well, before we get to Colorado Springs, there is one other event happening this weekend. We haven't mentioned it yet this evening, but tomorrow night, New Mexico United takes on FC Juarez in an international friendly. FC Juarez finished the last half of the Liga MX season last year in 16th place in the table. There's no roster on their club website. We have no idea. Like, there is a roster up on Wikipedia. It says it's up accurate as of last June. And I know the club has mentioned, Benny Diaz, former El Paso player, is there. Now, I don't know how much playing time Benny Diaz is actually going to get for them. I don't know if he's their starter. I mean, it's really hard to kind of look at, where they're at since it is their off season. But a big night tomorrow night out at the Lab, 7:00 kick for FC Juarez and New Mexico United. I know you guys aren't going to be able to make it out midweek. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it either. I have my kid, unfortunately, and because being professional, I'm not going to ask David if I can take my kid to the match.
The wording there was great, Seth. I have my kid, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, I thought I wasn't going to have him. So I was like, I was all excited because I was going to be able to go, but it turns out I'm going to have him, which is great. But unfortunately, I have him, so I can't go to the match. So, so yeah, I mean, this is exciting. I mean, obviously, the match will be streamed on, or will be streamed on ESPN Radio 117 The Team. I've been looking. Was there anything announced about a Facebook Live or any other stream?
So.
I don't think
not
so,
that I've seen.
But it'll be on ESPN Plus.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Does anyone know the result when El Paso played at FC Juarez? That's a very good question. We can try to find out.
FC Juarez won like 3 or 4-0. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, there you go.
I could be very wrong, but it's kind of what I feel was the case. Unfortunately, I'm on my phone and don't have my laptop, so I cannot research anything while we're here.
There's
I will say though,
bot mob about it. So
you probably have to go to El Paso's social media and scroll back.
Yeah, but I don't want to go looking at that. So
I mean, I would, because you would just see L when you get that far back, and it'd be fun.
That is very true. But yeah, I mean, this is exciting. I mean, obviously, it's not the same as having a Premier League club or an English, football championship club, come in. But, this is a chance for New Mexico United to build some bonds and build some, some pathways, with another club, just south of the border. I mean, Earl, from an international standpoint, what does this do for United, particularly, in this region, and what sort of crowd do you think that they're looking for?
So first off, I do have to answer the question. What was the score between FC Juarez and El Paso? Which happened on March 20th, 2024. FC Juarez secured an exhibition victory over their cross-border rival, the El Paso Locomotive, 3-0.
There you go.
So whoever's asking that, 3-0.
I was right.
I'm thinking that they're expecting a big crowd tomorrow, especially with it being on ESPN Plus and obviously Estrella TV. I think they expect a big crowd. I'm hoping for a big crowd. That way FC Juarez wants to come back and wants to do their thing here. But also, I want a big crowd because then FC Juarez players see what we have going on here, and that draws international talent to little New Mexico over here. But yeah, so I expect a good match tomorrow, especially with the crowd, especially with the Mexican heritage crowd that we do have here. I feel like it's going to be rowdy and pretty interesting, and I can't wait. And I'm just going to spoil it now. I think we win 2-0.
There you go, Earl, with a prediction over FC Juarez 2-0. Jacob, what are you looking for out of this? I mean, how much rotation do we see? Do we see? I'm assuming we see some academy kids in this matchup, and I can't imagine this being a full-on first team versus first team, particularly like I mentioned before, with our schedule congestion that we have coming up. But what are you looking for, and do you think we can win this international friendly?
I'm definitely more interested in what the attendance number is than pretty much anything else as far as this match is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a brilliant move as far as like marketing the teams and drawing some people in that maybe hadn't watched New Mexico United before, but are familiar with Liga MX and this FC Juarez team that's coming in. I think we can win it, but I also think that Quill, after losing that Memphis match the way we did, is probably going to be pretty rough on the team. And in training this week, and so if we see the starters, it's going to be either for just a little bit of time at the beginning or a little bit of time at the end, and we're going to put on a good show still because we've got the depth. Even the academy players, if we bring them in, they're still going to perform, I think, admirably. And who knows what the FC Juarez team is going to look like. Like you mentioned, it's their off season, so it's kind of a mix of players that are on contract, I imagine, and then some maybe some trialists and stuff like that. So, and it's not like the beginning of their like the end of their off season or they're about to go into the league play. Like they just finished, so how much are they going to give it and stuff like that. And so it's interesting to see how it's going to play out. I think we might come away. I'd say it's probably a draw, and it's probably like 2-2. The fans get some goals to cheer for on both sides, and everybody leaves happy, and hopefully that draws some eyeballs to us that wouldn't necessarily have been on us.
Moog Def, to your comment, a couple comments back. We're not going to put that one on the screen, but that's going to be interesting. I don't know how that's going to be handled out of the lab. I would hope that they prepared for that just in case. Again, match day personnel is not New Mexico United employees. They are employees of the Isotopes. And we all know how they've handled things in the past. So
what makes you think they won't be able to yell it is what I want to know.
I mean, no, yeah. I think they'll try to discourage them from yelling it, because obviously we'll play the pre-match, reel we always do and all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. It'll be interesting to see. I think we see a pretty heavy rotation. I do think we see, guys like Kalen get some more minutes, Sergio get some minutes, some of the guys you haven't seen, maybe Dunladi get some minutes. But if we win, we win. That'd be great. I think it would be good. But again, this isn't 18 versus 18. So I'm really interested to see what the numbers look like attendance wise tomorrow night. I think it's gonna be a great atmosphere no matter what, even with it being a midweek and with it being on ESPN Plus. That's going to be a big. I think it's going to be a big draw for the club. So we have one more topic to get to before we get out of here this evening, and that is Colorado Springs Switchbacks come to town. Pride Night on Saturday out at the lab. Obviously, the club puts a lot into Pride Night, LGBTQIA plus, and diversity, equity, equality, and inclusion. So massive night for the club, massive night for the team. Colorado Springs started off the season 6 consecutive winless matches. They've now charged their way up the standings. They currently sit 4th in the West. All right, they are. The table just updated. They're now in 5th. Are they playing right now?
They are playing Vegas right now.
I was about to say, I was like, I didn't realize they're playing tonight. It is 1-0 Colorado Springs right now, currently over Las Vegas Lights. Where is that match? That is it's
in Vegas.
20. Oh, yes. It's in the 28th minute. So, yeah, that match is going on over on ESPN Plus currently if you want to go check that out when we're done here. But, I mean, the Switchbacks have turned their season around. Brendan Burke is gone. They made a lot of roster changes in the offseason. And early on, none of us were high on this club. None of us were high on what they were doing. They didn't. I think they looked better than what their results showed. But even then, I don't think any of us were really big on what this club was doing. But when you look at where they are now compared to where they were, 6 weeks ago, what's been the difference maker for them, Jacob? And, is there any sort of fear you have about this match on Saturday?
Oh, I wasn't muted. Sorry, I was trying to get back to my screen to unmute myself, and I wasn't even muted. I think you mentioned all the turnover, you mentioned the new coach. That just took some time to mesh and develop, and that's part of why I think they've turned it around. If we're looking at players, Hernandez has come on strong. Damas has finally found some form. We know what Damas is capable of. We saw him tear this league up with Orange County in that year that Orange County made that championship run, and then he goes overseas for a while, competes over there, and then ends up coming back. And so we know that he is a super solid player that is capable of a lot of different things. The back line kind of is what it is. It doesn't super impress me. It's really been offensively. They've just kind of found a way to put the ball in the back of the net, using several different players. And so I think that with our possession play and the back line being solid, especially if Ryden comes in and it looks like Ryden again on Saturday, and one of these other guys can get a break, I think we'll look super good back there and be able to at least contain that offense a little bit more than some of these other teams have. I've always really liked Colorado Springs until last year. This year they're kind of just there. Like I don't know. I don't have strong opinions on them either way. And so I've always kind of liked Damas. He's been fun to watch. I think it's going to be a good match. Like Josh says in the chat, it's not a guaranteed win, and then they are in good form. Being at home, the way we've played at home, the fact that they're not like an extremely like a way more talented team or anything like that, I think we've got a good chance to come away with 3 points, and because of that, I look at Damas and Hernandez specifically to hopefully keep them in check.
Earl, other than Ronaldo Damas, who are you watching specifically from this Colorado Springs switchback side, and why is it not their goalkeepers?
I don't fucking know. I don't know who's on their team anymore. I think that one guy, Romario, there was someone that was there. I don't remember his name. Anyways, who am I watching from their team? Probably no one, because I am more interested to see how we respond to the blunders of this past weekend. And I think our defense is going to be top notch. I think there won't be a single mistake made, as per par, where we don't make mistakes on defense. I do believe we see Kalen get the start, I think, with Maples. And I think Herbert comes on to give Kalen some rest, especially with Kalen still not 100% in match shape. There's no way he can be. So I think Kalen gets to start with Maples, and it's a pretty solid back line back there. Obviously, Pride Night, we love Pride Night. Everyone comes out. There's some flags being tossed out to the first 3,000 fans, I think. I'm kind of surprised there's not a Pride kit that's been announced yet. At least I haven't seen one. I haven't heard rumblings of one either. So I know there's a cursed Pride kit that was put out, but for the club, I haven't really heard anything. But on top of that, I do think we get a pretty big attendance for this weekend. Not only because of Pride Night, but also because of the fires down in Ruidoso, where everyone's being evacuated to different areas, including Albuquerque. I know a couple people on Facebook that are my friends have reached out to their friends to see if they have any spots open in Albuquerque. But also some proceeds from each ticket is being donated to the Ruidoso Relief. So I know that for sure. So definitely, I think will be a higher attendance with the fires and everyone just coming out to Albuquerque, needing something to do because they're being displaced, and they need something fun and family oriented that they can take their mind off of the fire down south. So I think it's a good match. I think even with Ronaldo Damas and Malik Foster coming in, I still think that we walk away with a win, and I'll drop my prediction now. No, it's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. 3-1.
3-1. Okay. So Josh, you give us an update. 1-1 LA, Las Vegas, and Colorado. Colorado's now gone back up 2-1.
So yeah, and I'm mad at you guys for not correcting me. I was saying Hernandez. I'm pretty sure I meant uh, hold
Oscar.
on.
I was trying to figure out who you were
No,
talking about.
no, the Enriquez, the one that just scored the second goal there.
Oh, okay.
Jairo. Yeah. So, thanks for not correcting me. I appreciate it. Just leave me hanging out in the wind.
Well, I was trying
Like
to
I
figure out.
said, I
Who are you
don't.
talking about?
Like I said, I don't know who the hell's on that team anymore except for Ronaldo Damis. I don't know who their keeper is.
Earl, Earl, trust me, I'm not mad at you for for
last
for leaving me hanging out.
time last time we saw a Colorado Springs team, we're at the goal line where I got flipped off.
Oh, that was a fun match. That was
And
a
that
good
was
time.
with Mr. Jeff Caldwell, which I'm still waiting for my kit from him, by the way.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, again, Colorado Springs side, that is much changed from last year. You know, we've got a shout from Moogdef about Malik Foster. I mean, of the forwards they have available, Jonas Feldberg is one that I would watch more than Malik Foster. But because Malik has never really been a standout performer in the USL Championship. I do think he can be dangerous, but Jonas Fjordberg is a guy that we've seen in the past. I believe he scored against us in the past. But I agree with Jacob. The back line doesn't do much for me. For Colorado. But being at home, Pride Night, I think we see a different level from this club. I think we're able to pocket, the attackers, whoever Colorado Springs throws out there, despite the run of form that they're on. I'm going to say 2-1 us over Colorado on Saturday. Jacob, are we still waiting did we get your prediction already or no? I don't think we did.
We didn't. I will. Well, it's a big crayon. The family just got home, as you can tell. I will say. What did you say, Earl? 3-1. I'll say 2-0.
2-0. All right, there you go.
Yeah, I'll say 2.
Well, we've certainly gone over a lot in this show. We've talked about last weekend in great depth against Memphis 901. We talked about FC Juarez, talked about Colorado Springs switchbacks at the weekend. New Mexico United still in first place despite a potential midseason slump, which none of us seem to think we are in. With all of that being said, if anyone has any final thoughts, share them now. Otherwise, Jacob, get us out of here.
My only thought while Jacob's trying to clear his throat is we're gonna pray for Rudoso. Keep them in your thoughts for sure. If you know of anyone out there, make sure you check on them. Obviously, it's a terrible situation. They've been through a couple fires the past couple years. I know I went out there in April and it was still pretty destroyed from fires. So definitely keep them in your thoughts for sure. If you know someone out there that had to evacuate, check on them, make sure they're okay. If you can donate water to the firefighters and first responders, that'd be appreciated too.
Yeah, that was going to be my main focus of this last part here. So thank you, Earl. I'll add to that. Debaca County Fairgrounds here in Fort Sumner is open if you need a place to take your livestock. I'm also in the process of trying to get a few of my campgrounds here at the state park held for evacuees that need a place to go and stay for a while. So yeah, just not a great situation whatsoever. So hopefully everybody over there is at least physically safe. Belongings can be replaced, but lives unfortunately cannot. So yeah, just be careful if you're in that area. And other than that, on a hopefully a brighter note, we'll be talking about 3 points next Tuesday. Hopefully, we're going to get some rain. I'm supposed to get rain Wednesday and Thursday here, so hopefully it gets south of me too. Helps the people out there in Reynosa. Thank you, everybody in the chat. I found out who Seth, help me out. The chat member name that I can never pronounce. Yeah,
Mudef.
I found out who that is. Christo over on Twitter. We were messaging and he was like, "Yeah, that's me." And I was like, "I should have known." His takes are always smart and sensible, and he agrees with me. So I should have known. who it was. But thank you to him and Josh and anybody else. I don't have the chat in front of me because I'm not on my computer, but everybody else that was active in the chat, thank you guys so much. If you're listening to this at a later date and not watching us live, be sure to rate and review us on the podcast player of your choice. And of course, if you are watching us live, give us some likes. Let us know how we're doing. Be active in the chat. And just thank you guys so much. Thank United for the ticket sales and the relief efforts that are going to be going towards Ruidoso and that fire. So just keep them in your prayers. Let's have fun Saturday night. Let's get 3 points, and then we'll be back here next Tuesday at 8 o'clock, as always, to talk about that, talk about the FC Juarez friendly, and look forward to San Antonio the week after that. So thank you guys so much, and until next week, it's almost